Okay, folks, Rich Van Tassel back with you, finishing up our recap for the 1 o'clock games of Week 2 of the NFL season. The Pittsburgh Steelers 26-9 over the Minnesota Vikings. Sam Bradford did not play in this game. I'm surprised. Obviously, that knee injury was concerned. I saw the reports about it. I didn't think it was that serious. Case Keenum in the start, 20 of 37, 167 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Dalvin Cook, 12 carries, 64 yards, 5.3 yards per rush. Jerick McKinnon, 3 of 16. Latavius Murray, only 3 of 6, so they're not running him. 20 of 91 altogether, 4.6 yards per rush. C.J. Ham had a 1-yard touchdown. Kyle Rudolph, the top receiver, 4 receptions, 45 yards. Adam Thielen, 5 for 44. Laquan Treadwell, 3 for 33. He has been a little bit disappointing since coming in the league. Thielen lost a fumble. The team had 2 sacks, both of them by Everson Griffin. No interceptions. Jerick McKinnon, 2 kick returns for 52 yards. That's 26 yards per average. The longest was 27, so 27 and 25. Pretty good. Kai Forbath, 1 for 1 in his field goals. He did miss an extra point. For the Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger, 23 of 35, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Le'Veon Bell, 27 carries, 87 yards, better than last week, but only 3.2 yards per rush. So his yards per carry average actually went down from last week. James Conner, 1 of 9. The team altogether 32 of 102. That's 3.2 yards per rush. Brought down a bit because Ben Roethlisberger had 2 carries for -2 yards, but they also had a 9-yard rush by James Conner and a 7-yard rush by Martavius Bryant. So this puts those numbers back up a little bit. Martavius Bryant, top receiver, 3 of 91, 1 touchdown. It was not Antonio Brown. Pretty pedestrian game for him, 5 of 62. Eli Rogers, 4 of 43. Artie Burns recovered a fumble. The team had 2 sacks, one by Vince Williams, the other by Bud Dupree. No interceptions, 1 kick return of 25 yards for Terrell Watson. Juju Smith-Schuster, 1 for 20. Eli Rogers had 2 punt returns for -1 yards. Chris Boswell, 4 for 4 in his field goals. Look, Minnesota, without their starting quarterback, they struggled. 17 incompletions, not going to get the job done. Curious fake punt call by Minnesota in this game. But all in all, their defense, which is better than this, just couldn't stop Pittsburgh. And it looks like they made a concerted effort to shut down Antonio Brown. They were able to limit the running. But Martavius Bryant took over. And frankly, Pittsburgh, for the numbers they put up, you had 12 incompletions by Ben Roethlisberger. You held Le'Veon Bell to under 4 yards per rush. And Antonio Brown to only 62 yards. And you lose by 17. Not going to get the job done, of course. Kansas City 27-20 over Philadelphia. Carson Wentz 25 of 46, 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Carson Wentz, the top rusher, 4 for 55. That's 13.8 yards per carry. So a lot of those on scrambles, though. He had a big run on a 3rd down, I saw. Darren Sproles, 10 of 48, 4.8 yards per rush. The team altogether 17 of 107, 6.3 yards per rush. But again, Darren Sproles only 10 for 48 and a lot of scrambles, so they weren't necessarily consistent. Zach Ertz, 5 for 97. Alshon Jeffrey, 7 of 92. He had a touchdown. Torrey Smith, 4 of 66. So the acquisition's doing all right. Mac Hollins, 3 of 32. Lane Johnson recovered a fumble. Carson Wentz fumbled twice, recovered one of them, did not lose either one. Darren Sproles lost a fumble. Carson Wentz's interception was a big one in this game. It was a tip pass on a screen. It set up Kansas City, so I don't know how much blame I'm going to put on them. Wendell Smallwood, 2 kick returns for 55 yards, his longest of 28. That's a 27.5 yard per return average. Jake Elliott, 2 for 3 in his field goal, so that missed field goal was big in this game. Alex Smith, 21 of 28, 251 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. So they brought him in just a little bit. Didn't go downfield. Kareem Hunt continues to impress. 13 carries, 81 yards. He had 2 touchdowns in this game. That's a 6.2 yards per rush average. Alex Smith, 4 of 21, 5.3. He had a big 3rd down run in this game that set up the go-ahead touchdown. Travis Kelce, 8 of 103, 1 touchdown. Chris Conley, 4 of 55. Tyreek Hill, 4 of 43. Anthony Sherman recovered a fumble. The team had 6 sacks, 3 of them by Chris Jones, 1 by Justin Houston. D Ford had 1, Benny Logan had the other. There was a lot of talk of how well Philadelphia's offensive line was playing. They were protecting Carson Wentz on some dropbacks. I'm not going to deny that. There were just times he was standing back there and had all day, but they still gave up 6 sacks. Chris Jones had 1 interception. That came on the tip screen pass, as we said, so tough to put it on Carson Wentz in that situation. Cairo Santos, 2 for 2 in his field goals. So, Kansas City, they brought Alex Smith in a little bit, but they continued to get the running from Kareem Hunt. Carson Wentz did have 19 incompletions in this game. He put the ball up a lot, so there were the struggles there. Let's see if he can clean that up just a bit. Philadelphia's got to figure out a way to run the ball, but all in all, very good. It was a good game and an impressive victory for the Kansas City Chiefs handling what they had to handle at home. Arizona got the win in overtime, 16-13 in this game. They came back to beat the Indianapolis Colts. They get to 1-1. Carson Palmer, not very good, 19 of 36, 332 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Chris Johnson replacing David Johnson, 11 carries, 44 yards, 4 yards per rush. So not bad there, but clearly not even close to the numbers that David Johnson puts up. Kerwin Williams, 9 of 22, 2.4. Andre Ellington, 2 for 11. The team, 25 of 83, 3.3 yards per rush. J.J. Nelson, 5 receptions, 120 yards, 1 touchdown. Very good game for him. Jerron Brown, 4 for 73. Afeni Muma, 1 for 46. Britton Golden, 1 of 29. Carson Palmer fumbled and he recovered it. The team had 4 sacks. 1 of them for Josh Morrow, 1 of them for Josh Bynes, 2 for Chandler Jones. Tyrann Mathieu had an interception that was in overtime. We'll get into that in a minute. Phil Dawson, 3 for 4 in his field goals. He missed one at the end of regulation that would have won it. Jacoby Brissett got the start, 20 of 37, 216 yards, no touchdown. That critical interception in overtime. Frank Gore, 14 of 46, 3.3 yards per rush, 1 touchdown. 6 of 22 for Jacoby Brissett, 3.7. The team, 29 of 76, 2.6 yards per rush. But that included 6 carries for -3 yards, which is negative half a yard per rush from Marlon Mack. So the numbers still weren't great. They were well below 4 yards per carry anyway. Gore had the touchdown, but the numbers do come down just a bit. Jack Doyle, 8 for 79. T.Y. Hilton, 4 for 49. Kamir Aiken, 3 for 31 receiving. Christopher Milton recovered a fumble. Quan Bray fumbled. It was not lost. Jacoby Brissett fumbled once, did not lose any of them, recovered 2. Deshaun Boyd, 1 fumble. It was not lost. The team had 4 sacks, 1 for Hashan Ridgeway, 1 for Al Woods, 1 for Nate Hairston, and 1 for Josh Simon. Malik Hooker had a 32-yard interception return. It was not a touchdown. Quan Bray, 3 kick returns for 79 yards, longest of 30, so he was pretty consistent at the 26.3 average mark. And Vinatieri, 2 for 2 in his field goals. Look, Indianapolis, they got good play from or at least decent play from Jacoby Brissett, much better than they did from Scott Tolzien, so it looks like they're going to move on from him, but I don't know if Jacoby Brissett can get the job done. He had that killer interception. Chris Johnson, commendable in replacing David Johnson. They're going to need clearly a lot more of that as well. But it's something that he will just need to get carries for at his age. You got to wonder if he can have it. Carson Palmer has also got to play better, but Arizona did get the win. So as of right now, what is their last stand season, they're all right at 1-1. And finishing up for the 1 o'clock games, the Ravens 24-10 over the Cleveland Browns in this game. DeShone Kizer, 15 of 31, 182 yards, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions, so he came back down to earth. Kelvin Hogan, 5 of 11, 118 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So you look at the numbers between the two, 20 of 42, 293 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions for both quarterbacks. Not good enough. Isaiah Crowell, top rusher, 10 for 37. DeShone Kizer, 5 of 26. Duke Johnson Jr., 4 of 21. That's 3.7, 5.2, 5.3 yards per carry. 21 of 93, 4.4 yards per rush total. Rashad Higgins, top receiver, 7 of 95. Seth DeVale, 2 of 61. Duke Johnson Jr., 3 of 59. And David Njoku was 3 of 27. He had the only touchdown receiving. Nate Orchard recovered a fumble. DeShone Kizer lost a fumble, so a lot of turnovers for him. Trevin Cooley fumbled and recovered it. 2 sacks, 1 of them for Christian Kinsey. James Burgess had a sack, so none of them for Myles Garrett, the top overall pick. Jason McCourty had an interception. Jabril Peppers, 1 kick return for 18 yards, not impressive. Zane Gonzalez, 1 for 1 in his field goals. For the Baltimore Ravens, Joe Flacco, 25 of 34, 217 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. They ran the ball much better than they did this week, and they didn't really have to run the ball as much as they did last week when they had the big lead. 14 of 66 for Javoris Allen, 4.7 yards per rush. Alex Collins, 7 of 42, 6 yards per rush. Terrence West, 8 of 22, 2.8. Did have the touchdown, not great, but that's all certainly acceptable on only 8 carries. Altogether, 32 of 136, 4.3 yards per rush, and a touchdown. So getting the job done running the ball. Benjamin Watson, 8 of 91. Javoris Allen, 5 of 35 with a touchdown receiving. Jeremy Maclin, 4 of 31. He also had a touchdown. Matthew Judon recovered a fumble. Alex Collins lost a fumble. The team had 3 sacks. Patrick Onsuar, Tyrus Bozer, and Terrell Suggs still getting the job done. Tyrus Bowser had an interception. Brandon Carr had an interception. Eric Weddle had an interception. Ladarius Webb had an interception. Nothing of note in the return games. Justin Tucker, 1 of 2 in his field goals. So, did Baltimore finally find their running game? We've got to keep an eye on that. Certainly, it's good that they figured it out in this game. For Cleveland, look, DeShone Kizer, do you send him back out there? He came back to earth, so they've certainly got work to do in that regard. Kelvin Hogan was not much better either, so I just send Kizer back out there. But Cleveland has got to play better than this. Can't turn the ball over, especially when you're a weak offensive team. All right, when the 4 o'clock games go final, we'll give you the recap of those, and then, of course, the Sunday night game tonight. Be sure to stay tuned for that. We'll see you all in a little bit, and remember, we appreciate all subscriptions as well. Thank you all so much.